I want to create a platform to discuss the social injustices that are going on in our city. And I know people will want to say that it's a black thing or a white thing, but when I was growing up, it was all types of colors that was going through the same struggles that we were going through in our neighborhoods. And maybe some of them had different advantages and disadvantages than others. But the truth of the matter is, we need something in this system that allows us to be able to protect our youth from all these traps that are going on in this city and give them an opportunity to have success. I feel like it's a whole bunch of traps and it ain't no protection from them.
Right.
But
these traps, let's be clear, these traps you're speaking on are systems.
Yep.
Those are systems.
So
design systems.
The messed up part about it is there are people that probably want to help, but they want to pick and choose the people that are actually doing the help. And I personally feel like we don't need to reinvent the wheel. There are people like you that have the ear of our youth. And because you have the ear of our youth, not only are you able to speak to them, but you are also able to hear from them in a way that some people might not be able to.
Right.
And I want to put on record what these youth are going through, and also what you feel your role is. What you feel your role is in helping them, to get through these challenges.
See, that's just it. I don't feel like my role is to be available for them to fit me in whatever they need me at. That's how I play it with these kids, the little homies, anything dealing with the struggle. I don't necessarily got no role. You know, I'm certified as a community engagement specialist, so I just know how to engage people. I know how to engage multiple people. That's something that got to do with my past. You know what I'm saying? Like how I grew up. I grew up being exposed to both extremes of society. You know what I'm saying? I grew up. We moved here Battle Creek probably. I was probably like 3 or 4, maybe like 5. It was close to 1980. Because my earliest memories is Crowd Terrace. We lived in Crowd Terrace. It's crazy because my best friend. This is a crazy time to do an interview. Because I'm writing my book, and I'm at that part about, you know, my first best friends, right? So we moved here. My mom's from here. We lived in Kalamazoo before that. I was born in Kalamazoo. We moved here. We moved to Carl Terrace. My first best friend out there in the same apartment was Myron Swift. Now every day we going to school, we using my grandmother's address on Plymouth Street, right? So we walking from Carl Terrace to Plymouth Street almost every day. I'm making that walk, crossing train tracks, past Katie's, all the way up Jordan, down on Plymouth, right? My best friend on the north side, Mila Fitzpatrick. So growing up, these my 2 first best friends, and we know how their lives turned out, right? So it's almost been examples all my life of the most extreme conditions of black and white, and I mean from. I ain't gonna say the most extreme conditions of wealth, but people was living good. It was a nice neighborhood. It wasn't rich people, but it was upper middle, lower to upper class neighborhood. Level Park was. But then we go to Plymouth Street, free lunch programs in the projects. You know how the hood is back, 80s and shit. So boom, we making that walk from Level Park to Plymouth Street every day. Me, my brother, and my sister. We making that walk. So I'm the baby though. So I'm just watching. I ain't just talking to them. I'm just watching. I ain't got as many distractions as they do. I don't know the people wherever we going. You know what I'm saying? So I'm writing my book right now, so I'm noticing how I used to just be looking at shit. And I was soaking it in, but man, some seeds that get planted in the mind of a child don't come out till you an adult. If you make it, this society is screwed, bro. We setting some high extreme expectations on kids, bro. It's just medically, just physically. If we know that the the section of the brain that deals with logic and reason doesn't fully develop to the age of 21. What's the results? Why would you expect like positive results over in communities that just give teenagers access to a whole bunch of drugs and weapons? Why you think a 15, 14, 13-year-old will make a logical fucking decision when they got a pile of money in front of them? It don't make no difference what it look like. You drop a pile of blank t-shirts in front of somebody, they gonna look at it like it's money. It just so happened that we wasn't getting products that you could sell in the store. We getting products that'll land us in prison. But it's a design. Them traps, the Atlanta homies call it the trap. All that shit is a system. This shit has been systematically designed for failure. They count how many people they expect to fail by. When we take that third grade, I think it's the SAT test. It's the MEP test, and I think it's the SAT test in third grade. They judge by the reading levels, and I think mostly based on the reading levels, they judge how many people going to land up in prison by the time they 18. So they build prisons in response to things. I've read somewhere that might be a myth. I don't believe it's a myth. I see them taking these tests, and I seen them building them prisons.
So what do you think? Because you say some very positive, powerful things. And one of the powerful things that I heard you say is what's being planted in the minds of these youth. And we are, even to this day, seeing the fruits of what's being planted in our kids' minds. How do we counter that? Like, if we know that there are things that are being planted in their minds that are built for their destruction, and
everything.
So
and not things. We talking about America, bro.
So
there is nothing that's ever been erected, designed, built, or invested in America to benefit the future and to bring out the potential of the young black male or female or poor people now. But I mean, from the beginning, day one, there is nothing in this society that is designed to benefit these people we talking about. People. That's not a construct. I'm not a construct of the system. Mm-hmm. I was though at first. At first I was like, you know what I was on. I was designed to destroy our people perfectly, my nigga.
But see now,
and I was acting on
experience.
They as they system does, they punished that design and sent me to prison. Right? There's no way for you to factor in natural cells, natural genetics. There's no way for them to factor in when the cells that make you whoever you gonna wake up in you. There's no way to factor that in. That's why they got so many different constructs designed to make sure they bring the worst out of a person, or either make them mimic society and fall in line. You must memorize behaviorisms of what we telling you is successful black men. If you don't mimic their behaviorisms, if you step outside of these identities we've offered you to look up to, we're gonna castrate you, bro. We're gonna castrate you. We're gonna take your freedom, or we're gonna give you enough dope that you're gonna take your own life. That's what they do.
So how do you counter this system?
You gotta burn it down. You can't. That's the only way to get. As long as it exists, it's gonna do its job. We've been over here since 1619 and before, of course. We don't got to get into that argument. Brothers like to jump. You're gonna see somebody gonna look at this like, "Well, we was always here. We Indians." That's a long conversation right there. The Indians own slaves. They get that money because the United States government forced them to free their slaves. They had to make a promise to them. Do you research? A lot of them Indians that you say Indians ain't really Indians. But that's another subject. It's the only way to counter that system, bro, is to destroy it. It's for it to cease to exist. It's gonna do its job. They've been working on it for a long time. You gotta think we talk about some people who we talking about like a 1% of human 1% out of human history of people who then conquered the globe. Less than 1% actually, they say. These are just numbers that help paint a picture. We don't know if they're precise, if it's only 1%, we don't know. And people argue these small, minute things, but these numbers are used just to help develop a picture, because that's how our subconscious works, that's how our psyche works. We function off of images and sound alone, period. That's why hieroglyphics was the most advanced language and history. We see pictures when we talking, when we hearing. You know what I mean? We see images. That's what we function off of. But a small number of what the Honorable Brother Elijah Muhammad used to call devils, and I understand his intentions now, right? I also understand Malcolm X's confusion when he visited Mecca and came back understanding that theory that the white man was all devils wasn't true. I understand both, though. I understand why Elijah Muhammad felt it necessary to paint that picture at the time. It was the same reason why the ancient Jewish sect / Hebrew Israelites felt it necessary to paint this imagery of heaven and hell. They had to develop a punishment and a reward system because people would not discipline themselves on their own. We ain't changed, bro. It's no different. We dealing with the same thing. We wondering why these young brothers and ourselves as well was able to do these savage things and exist in these savage conditions and just be trying to tear each other apart. There's nothing changed, bro. That's I believe that our community has been misled into only embracing the spiritual aspect of the scriptures. It's history. It's historical, bro. That's our history. We wrote that. That's our history. It was documented for a reason. Human nature is a cycle. Our blood is rotating in cycles. The universe is rotating in cycles. Our hair grows in cycles. They made us hate these cycles, these natural cycles. All those natural cycles have been replaced by this current system of society. And they went global with it, my G. They everywhere with it. Nothing is natural. Our food ain't natural no more. The air ain't even natural. Water ain't even natural no more. Everything is anti-natural right now. Anti-organic. They know why. We can study about 6,000-7,000 years ago and know why. That's another subject. Study the island of Patmos, though. It's very deep.
So, the system cannot be changed. It only can be broken. But there's also the concept that we can help some of these youth to navigate through the system. Just like when you were growing up, there were people.
Only because we ain't got no choice. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason why. I would, if I had to vote, I would vote for total and absolute withdrawal from this system. Every bit of it. Unsubscribe immediately. If we're just not able to do that. That's not realistic. We have no other system to include ourselves in. We haven't created one for ourselves. We have no system with all the measures in place that can take care of our people.
So do you think that, let's go back to you, when you were young and you were walking to school and you didn't really know what was around you, but you was just observing and soaking things in. Do you think that if you were who you are now and you could go back to that young person that was walking, do you think there's a way that you could have guided the younger version of you through a different life than what you've seen?
Yeah, most definitely. If we replace this capitalistic concept with the village concept, that'll change that off rip. That was I believe that was the biggest benefit of the village concept, bro.
So what is the village concept?
I mean our ancestors concept. Mm-hmm. How we function, right?
Explain it to me.
So you gotta like how we are now, right? You got families, black, white, Latinx, everything you can name. You got siblings competing to be the most successful sibling. You got hundreds and thousands of young brothers and sisters of all nationalities and genders in college and universities right now trying to become successful and learn trades and study all this information. They don't return to their community and share that information. Teach everybody else what they just learned. They don't return to their families for the most part. Some do, right? But we don't return to our families and teach our families this degree information we just went and paid all this money for. We don't share it. We use it to capitalize off of whatever society offers us at the time. Jobs, employment, entrepreneurship, whatever it is, we use that information now to capitalize and benefit. We want a nice house. We want a nice. Everybody do. You know, we want to be comfortable. I clean my house up, right? So it's easy to trick the conscience of human beings into this way of thinking to compete against each other and everything. That's anti-organic though. If we was functioning off a village concept, then first and foremost we would have access to the majority of our genealogy, the majority of our bloodline would be among us, right? So if we know DNA and we know we keep duplicating ourselves over and over and over again, like a USB drive that's getting downloaded from here and plugged into there, instantaneous transfer of all the information of who our self is, then we would know that if our ancestors and our grandmothers and grandfathers and uncles and aunties and cousins and first, second, third, and fourth, all, you know, if they were all around us and among us and part of our lives from birth, then once you get to displaying those aggressive characteristics, like the fight, it's a little more mean or something, then we would know, okay, you're going to be like such and such. That's like such and such the third. Okay, put him over there. We had depositories for that energy. We have no pockets. The pocket for aggressive energy is prison or the grave in America. That's the only pocket. Although we know it's, or the military, that's a pocket for aggressive energy. A lot of aggressive people go. Most people, in the hood don't even view that as an option though. Because by the time you 10, 15 years old, you view this society as an enemy. Whether it's consciously or subconsciously. There's a lack of participation switch in us, especially as young black men, but it comes from over-encountering racism, over-encountering bigotry, over-encountering those ill stares when we little, when we teenagers, when we around older men and women. My fourth grade teacher used to call me a nigger over and over and over again. I still think about it, family, you feel me? It comes from those things. I had a female tell me the other day, a sister say, Jeff, I gave him everything he need. He got his daddy in his life. She like, he ain't hurt for nothing. He never been in the streets. She like, but he just mad all the time. I say, it's just natural. I say, this is how God designed us. We reach a certain age where we get a bum rush of testosterone. It's natural. It's not unnatural. What we seeing these little dudes do is not unnatural. It's being molded into something ugly and not guided into something protective or something that's going to go hunt for us or something that's going to go travel and find some new land and be brave enough to encounter some new people and might have to fight to get out of there. You know what I'm saying? We used to use that. We used to not only use, we used to recognize it and use that. Did it? Go ahead.
I want to say something because you spoke to my heart real quick. You know, we grew up together. And so we seen the world in the 80s and the 90s. And I know exactly what you're talking about, like all that stuff that was programmed into us. Because when I went to college, and it's crazy to even say this out loud, but like when I graduated from high school, what I used my open house money for was a 380. And when I went to college, I had that 380 in my backpack when I went the first 2 weeks because I'm like, I don't know none of these people. Yep. I don't know who I'm about to be around. I'm by myself. Yep. Like, you ain't about to catch me like that. Yep. And that was what was programmed into me. Even though you sent me to a new place, I still had a mindset of where I left. And over the years, a lot of those things that I was programmed with here, I found to be a lie, not necessarily our potential. Right. And, you know, like you saying with the village concept, I felt I was responsible to have to come back and show people like, no, what we thought it was is not what it is. We really can do something different than what we seeing around here. And that's the whole reason why I'm here. Right. And it's the reason why I'm making this video, because in me, I feel like if I would have known that at a young age, I might not have felt that I might not have felt like I needed to take a 380 to MSU with me. Right. And it's something about me naive enough to believe that I still can come back here and maybe I can't talk to that kid you can talk to. But if I can empower you to be able to talk to him, he might be somebody that could go to MSU, but he ain't carry a 380 the first 2 weeks. I feel like there's still a way we can create that, and the best way I can almost describe it from how you see this system is make a new underground railroad that's leading the kids out of this city and out of the prison system into a place of potential.
Yep. That's exactly what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. And it's almost impossible for it to be underground, but it can be protected, it can be private, and it could be people involved. It could be people led, and it ain't got to be based on race. It ain't got to be based on nothing. It's I believe they just experimented with it in Seattle. That Chaz function they had, that Capitol Hill autonomous zone they had going on in Seattle. That was a brief demonstration of sovereignty. That's what that was. That was what we call reservations and this land that the Native brothers and sisters is acquiring. They developing a level of sovereignty. They got their own police force. They policing themselves. They still under federal jurisdictions. They still, do business with the local and city police and the city officials and things of that nature. But they got a place where they protect themselves from this government that's did them dirty. We need to develop. I can't believe Marcus Garvey tried, but Marcus Garvey tried on such a massive level that they probably blocked every effort they could. The essence of Pan-African is to get every person with a high level of melanin in their skin to understand that we all stem from the same continent and to become one people. That's Pan-Africanism. All the black people on the world, basically, in layman's term, wake up and unite and become one. Marcus Garvey was working towards that. He got further than I believe any black leader in history, in U.S. history.
So if we were going to try and create a underground railroad, just because the way to describe it, because you're taking people from a system that's trying to oppress them into a place of greater freedom.
I think we already have a subculture created. We call it the streets, right? We don't know the history of it, but what we call the streets, the number man, the hustler, the gangsters, they the ones sponsor most of these historical black colleges and universities in America. That street money. They the ones that protected Malcolm X and a lot of other black leaders, them street niggas. We already got a subculture that we created. We just don't own the land which it exists. We already been replaced. We already one people that was replaced and brought from one place to another. We already got our own style, we already got our own desires. We already know what businesses we really need in our community and what we would start if we had the financial capability. The subculture exists already. We just haven't packaged and protected it.
So how do we do that?
We feeding that subculture to this government. That's what we doing. That's what those 5 civilized Indian tribes did as well. They call them the 5 civilized tribes. They will feed the rest of their people to that American government after they made that deal with them. That's what we did. Only the deal was forced on us, and we begged for it after we got released. Please include us in this deal and let us be Americans as well. Before that, we was building. We had it. We had built. Oklahoma was gangster, bro. They had like 50 plus black built independent cities, banks, hospitals, everything.
So,
what's dude named Sir Solomon Jones? Look him up. So
you recognize that we need to have some form of economics in our communities that can help empower us to be able to save our youth. Is that what you mean when you're talking about the black banks and the black?
No, I'm saying they had that back then. I think we don't. It depends on the society, the social structure. We, with a village concept, we can eliminate currency. We won't have a need for currency if we were conducting ourselves correctly. The earth and nature and what others refer to as God has given us everything we need to thrive and survive. I'm seeing the brothers up the street right now, 2 houses up, helping each other rebuild their porch. I want to rebuild mine. I've been calculating how much it's going to cost me and Do the city got grants for homeowners, for porches and things of that nature? They just called probably a couple of their family members or a couple of their friends, and they bought the product and they doing it themselves. It's the village concept. You don't need, the only reason why we need money right now is because money exists. That's the only reason why we need money. That's the only thing. Like the brother Stokely Carmichael say, right? AKA Kwame Ture. He desired and spoke on and talked about the elimination of that class structure. There's no way that we can eliminate the class structure without eliminating currency. And as we know, currency is a made-up construct. We know that they are sitting up having meetings, putting a price on raw materials. That's what they're doing. These things come out the ground. Our ancestors used to make cups and bowls and, dress with them. Now they got them in vaults and sacrificing human lives for it. Letting people go to waste and sleep on steps in the middle of winter because they've placed a price on a diamond that they forced somebody to dig out the ground in the Congo. Right? This shit is not natural, bro. These lines, these cities, Battle Creek, Kalamazoo, Michigan, Illinois, Chicago. This shit is made up, bro. None of this is natural. These walls of this house, we chopped down a tree and reshaped it and built this. This is not natural. Our ancestors and a lot of different cultures, not just the black African culture, them brothers and sisters that's down there in Amazon now, they just found them about a decade or so ago. Flew over them. It looked like grass. They just laid grass that's been falling from trees in a certain shape that it gives them some protection from the weather, but they living off nature, bro. They not trying to redevelop the earth. They not carving into this car. We about to carve this up and make it look how we want it to look. We done carve this joint up, put highways and roads through mountains, and we crazy, bro. We crazy, bro. It's like we consuming the earth. It's feeding us. You imagine a baby in the womb of his mother eating her alive. Start chewing and gnawing on her. It's not natural. That mother gonna feed that baby everything it needs, as long as it's in that belly. And that baby gonna receive the amount of nutrients and ingredients that the mother feed it that it needs to survive. And if it don't get that from the mother, it's gonna die. It's not gonna start feeding and feasting on the mother. This shit is not natural, bro. The way we living ain't natural, bro.
So, looking at the current circumstance, looking at how these systems of our society are in place, looking at the youth that have to grow up in this current system, what can we do? Because, my heart's desire has not changed. I moved back home to show another way and to help people to find it. And
that's a big shout out, bro. That's one of my main complaints about our brothers and sisters. They go off to become professionals and never come back home. Just to visit sometimes, but come back and share that gift. You pay for it. You can do whatever you want to, but you can start a class and teach motherfuckers, But go ahead, my bad.
So, what do we do right now? Because for me, I know I can't get rid of currency. I know I can't destroy the roads and the systems.
Those are philosophical theories right now.
What can I do right now? Because you are connected to me.
Gotta say we.
Thank you.
You gotta say, what can we do? It's the elimination of the I. You gotta say, what can we do? Because we can do a lot. We can do a lot. But, it's a matter of take what's the old saying, making the best out of a bad situation. We in the belly of the beast, bro. We've been swallowed, consumed, digested shit out a couple times. Pigs eat everything. They eating their own. We've been stuck in that cycle of getting ate and shit out by the beast. You know what I'm saying? By these pigs. That's what we going through in America, right? And ain't no escaping from that cycle. Because when we come out, we shit. When we come out, we shit. We ain't been in our natural form in over 400 years.
Probably longer than that.
We ain't, you chew a carrot up and they gonna never be solid again. You know what I'm saying? But Them seeds can. Them seeds can, long as you know, we got to redesign the dirt. We got to change these streets, bro. We lose most of our potential in the streets. The potential that's making it out of the streets are becoming successful. We see that in this society that's totally waging war against us. You know what I mean? We have, sometimes it's allowed. Some of our success stories we must question. Malcolm and Martin X wasn't the most like brothers when they was alive. They made that up. That's all pure American imagery. Those images we've seen of Malcolm peeking out the window with that chopper and all these video footage and that we see. I'm not discrediting nothing that them brothers did, but according to the majority of brothers and sisters from that era that you talk to, that we talk to, they wasn't the biggest fans of them brothers like that. People felt like Malcolm crossed Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad was like the strongest black leader in the world at the time. This man was transforming communities overnight. They got a system, see. The nation is, and I was thinking about that last night. It's coming a time, and I've been worried about the Minister Farrakhan passing away. I've never been a Muslim. I'm not a Christian nor a Muslim, but no, he didn't pass away. Oh. No, I'm saying I'm worried about like he's in his elder years. And I'm thinking like this is a pivotal moment for the Nation of Islam, which is a safe depository system for our brothers and sisters. Been one of the only ones we've ever had, but they reaching the point where they're gonna find out whether or not their organization has been dependent on these large global leaders they've had at all the time, popular, outspoken leaders, or is it the system itself? Because they have a system that's transforming the worst of us. And I believe it's because they transform everything. You must change your diet, the words you use, how you wear your hair, which I would never agree with, but I understand they process, because when they started, we was perming our hair and wearing jerry curls, and we was destroying ourselves. So the brother developed a system that cut us down to our raw core, our natural selves. That's what prison does. You lose all material possessions. They disconnect you from the majority of social relationships you got with people. Almost all of them. Homies, girlfriends, baby mamas, children, family members. A mother's love is damn near the only thing that can penetrate the walls of prison, bro. That's it. Almost nothing else can make it through. I ain't gonna say that like it's not absolute. You feel love, you know, you get love from the homies and that, but nothing really sits with you in that cell. It's different. You know, it sits with you in that cell. And I'm pretty sure it's brothers who only had their wives or something like that while they was in there that feel that way about them. But I just so happen to only have my mama, so I feel that way about her. You know what I mean? But
you said something that I want you to build on. Because I said, what can I do? And you said, no, what can we do?
Yeah, that's the problem now. We fight. We've had these beautiful leaders, and they've been alone. Martin Luther King was alone. Malcolm X was alone. Farrakhan been alone. They've been alone, bro. And it's because of what we called them traps earlier, these systems that's designed, these constructs that's designed to make us draw those lines of religion, draw those lines of class, draw those lines of being militaristic or radical versus being non-violent and peaceful. They make us draw those lines, and we retreat to those safe places because we have a natural desire to feel a part of a tribe. Not really understanding or knowing that in the village concept, we're going to have a section of the tribe that's going to cater to all of those characteristics. Oh, this little brother, this little sister won't be quiet. She keep running her mouth. Send her over there with the priest. Send her over there with the priesthood. This dude writing everywhere. Writing on everything. Drawing in the sand. Send him over there with the scribes. He want to do some writing. Oh, these little dudes over here want to fight. They want to fight. Send him over there with the warrior tribe. Send them over there with the hunters. We have pockets. We have places to plug that energy into and bring the best potential out of it. I see what you are naturally. I see what's coming out of you because it's a village concept. I know your uncle, your great uncle, your cousins, your daddy, your mama. So we done seen you before, bro. You've been here before, but we don't know that. But we've been here, but we just duplicating ourselves. We both have an ancestor that behaved just like both of us. Probably precisely. It would be crazy if we could sit next to each other, next to one of our ancestors from 150 years ago, and we'll be looking at ourselves. It's crazy. DNA is not subjective nor objective, bro. You can't adjust it.
And in Battle Creek, I recognize that there are youth right now that are in a system that's trying to destroy them. And I want to change their lives. I can't use anything from history. I can't pull people from other systems.
Every day. You got to invest yourself every day. It might just be 2-3 phone calls. It might be pulling up on them. It's just, it's a matter of making yourself available. Whatever you can do, whatever your energy is, you take your energy and you throw it at that problem. Whoever needs this energy, you do it already. You make your energy available already. I just told somebody on the porch the other day. I was up there with the homegirl and heard them talking about diapers, and that energy exists. So I could tell young women who single mothers that the homie got a diaper drive up there in the projects. He give out free diapers every week, and I think they do that at the Y Center too. It exists. If that energy didn't exist, then I wouldn't be able to say it. That oral tradition is lost, right? That oral tradition is lost. So to speak a word, the scriptures say in the beginning of the word, it was the word, right, that created everything, right? The other cats said in the Big Bang Theory, it was a loud noise, right, that created everything. The vibration of that the Big Bang Theory, that loud noise created everything. Who's to say that loud noise wasn't a word? Wasn't nobody speaking English back then, so it was just a loud noise. Either way you go. So when you speaking things, we know what sound does. It bounces off of the walls. It gets absorbed by certain materials. So it's bouncing off of them walls. It's getting absorbed by certain materials. But if you can't say it, if I can't say what you got going on, what somebody else got going on, we just haven't combined it. We haven't developed a platform for it. We haven't acknowledged and understood that we fucked up. People don't want to say it. We in competition. You got to remember, this is a capitalist society. We in competition. It's not a good thing for a brother and sister who's been spending their life trying to become successful at something to say, hey, man, we fucked up. And this shit I'm doing is contributing to the problem. So how can I counteract that with some positive energy? Everybody ain't willing to say that. People gonna try to draw you into whatever they got going on until it benefit them. Ain't nobody willing to sacrifice themselves. It wasn't only one Christ in history, bro. It was a whole bunch of them. That story happened over and over and over and over again. Since the beginning of written history, there's been documented Christ and individuals who shined a certain light on everybody else and influenced everybody else to get started. But what happened after that was there was a redevelopment of culture. There was groups of brothers and sisters all over the place that would take those lessons and those teachings and develop something. They call them Essenes, Gnostics, study the early Christians. There's a whole bunch of different sects of them. But they took those teachings and they developed something with them. They wasn't using them to oppress the people. They wasn't taxing the people with them. They wasn't creating one Messiah with them. They was developing a culture with the science of the teachings. That's what they was doing.
You said something that sticks with me right now.
Be quiet.
And what you said is, there was something that, and I'll just say, you said it was something that I was doing, but I'll just say it was something that was being done in the community. You had the ability to talk to a person that had a need, and you were able to direct them to a place to supply that need. I was not able to be on that porch and talk to that person and recognize what they need. You were. You were able to spread that sound to a place that I could not reach. And I honestly think that in our city, the reason why I'm interviewing you is because I feel like you have a voice to speak to people that other people cannot hear nor can they speak to. You can speak to them.
1,000 pardons. You don't devalue yourself, right? them young brothers and sisters will be just as inspired by a success story as they are by the redemption stories. I promise you, that's a lack we have in our community. Them kids ain't had access to enough professionals. They don't have enough success stories where we can view each other as heroes. They need that too. That's the people on that same porch. You don't have to reach them. You don't got to go in the hood and be on that porch. We got to develop a safe space for them to come. That's it.
You've spoken
but
about that before.
But they need to hear all of it. They need to hear the sisters need to hear the sisters. Sometimes the brothers need to hear the sisters. Everybody receives things different. We are receptive. We design to be receptive. We receptacles. We get stimulated by outside sources. That's what we are designed to do, right? Everybody, we don't know what we are, right? We know, one thing we do know is we interact with anything that touches us, anything we interact that we smell, anything that crosses us or we encounter, we interact with it. Something sends us a signal. We smell it, we see it, we taste it, we feel it, pain, good, whatever, cold, hot. We interact and we preserve in that. Our brain is a storage device. That's why we be referring to it like a USB all the time. It's a storage device. You can't convince me that something we create such a complex storage device that's able to duplicate itself and make a duplicate of itself just to make sure that whatever is stored is preserved. There has to be a receptacle for that information. That information, if I develop and design this, I've also designed somewhere to download that information. Somewhere this information is being downloaded. We ain't got to argue about where. We don't know. But I know for sure I would not make this device because our bodies is only protecting that storage chamber. What we call our spirits, our souls, our brains is the physical construct of it, and our spine. We protecting that, bro. And it's being downloaded somewhere. But it's so divine that we make sure we duplicate ourselves, though. We got evidence of stuff that happened thousands of years ago floating through our body right now.
So the next subject that I gotta hit you on is... Go ahead.
Let me make it clear too, though. What we can do right now is come up with a community agenda. That's what we can do right now. We can come up with it. I've been arguing about it for a minute. We've been talking about it in meetings for a while. Me and Alicia got close to hosting a meeting about it. To that George Floyd protest situation, but we was gonna host a meeting. We was working on it. I wrote down a lot of stuff from the 2020 Black Agenda that the brothers and sisters put together that went global, worldwide. It was national. They shared it with the people. It was an interesting agenda. I just took notes from that, and we were gonna discuss them and develop a Black community agenda in Battle Creek, specifically Black, specifically. I be riding with everybody.
Okay. I found this on the web and develop a Black community agenda in Battle Creek. Check it out.
That's crazy, right? But yeah, that's what we need to do. That's what those tribes did, right? Those quote unquote what they call the 5 civilized tribes, right? Which some of them was actually Europeans, but that's another story, right? But they developed an agenda and they took it to Washington D.C. We dealing with a microcosm of that if we just trying to start what we supposed to start right here in our community. So we need to develop a community agenda, right? It's not just we in Battle Creek. We in America. Let's keep in mind. Overall we only represent 13% of the population, right? There's never been a successful Black movement that didn't involve the aid and assistance of white and every other ally that was available. So to only be concerned and accept Black help would be self-destructive, right? But we must only be concerned with the progress and the potential in these young Black lives with this Black community agenda. Now, if everybody else's community agenda is righteous, then we're going to meet in the middle, right? We're going to meet in the middle. And we're going to do whatever we need to do collectively for the city. If our communities are healthy. I try to tell the brothers and sisters that truth and racial healing that you can't really ask me as a Black man to sit at a table and help everybody heal. When everybody that's going to sit at this table that you calling marginalized communities got left a wound on me. I'm not from a marginalized community. I'm a Black man in America. most slave owners, most of these slave owners in the history books and these history movies and the documented history of America and Saudi Arabia and everywhere else, even the Islamic slave trade and the transatlantic slave trade. Over there in the Middle East, they used to castrate us upon purchase and do all kind of weird stuff with our women. Over here, they didn't castrate us, they used us for sexual pleasures and desires. They fit that category of LGBTQ+. Them brothers and sisters be out here riding. I got a whole bunch of friends that's in that category. But I have to remind them that one of the main tools used against my ancestors was raping them. Raping men in front of their women and children. They did weird sexual experiments on the black woman's body for hundreds of years. Y'all can't... I ain't gonna let nobody hurt nobody in front of me. But you cannot overshadow the black struggle. You can't. I ain't gonna let you do it. I'm not gonna let you do it. Y'all gotta make amends for what y'all did to us. The Native Americans, they own black slaves. That part of that agreement and that treaty that they signed, that they got that reservation land and those checks that everybody be talking about, trying to count their pockets. That treaty stems from them not being willing to release their black slaves after America had already outlawed it. They had to pay them to let us go. These people gotta study their history. Now we can talk about that. Now if that'll help y'all heal, for y'all to understand what your ancestors done to mine, because I'm a street nigga. I'm willing to admit what I did to my community. That's why I be out here like this. Because I know we misled all these young brothers. I walked the yard with a young brother that had like 3 life sentences, bro. And I asked Lil Homie, Lil Homie was a virgin when I left the street. Turn the news on, he done killed 2 or 3 people in Kalamazoo. I said, what the fuck Lil Homie doing? He tripping. He come to prison. MR, Ionia, level 4-5. We walk in the yard. I said, Lil Homie, what was that about? Like, he basically threw his life away. He was young as hell. Little Scoop said this should have been, bro, this was like 95, 96, bro. And Lil Homie say, big homie, we got that shit from y'all. We learned that shit from y'all. Fucked with me for the rest of my bit. He ain't never getting out of prison. I said, God damn. For the next 10 years, little dudes riding in that know me that I don't recall ever seeing before in my life. Just because we out here in this hood, doing all this stupid shit in the open. Whole streets, jumping outside, gang banging, set tripping, yelling out our gang, walking through the neighborhood. We don't understand the psyche at the time, though. We don't understand that this shit is being absorbed. We don't understand that in the beginning there was the word, and that word gonna vibrate and bounce off everything. We don't understand that, so we just saying we speaking death. We was obsessed with it's a culture of death, bro. We love people that died for us. We ain't acknowledged a black leader until they did. How many black leaders really have been accepted universally? Farrakhan now, recently, I could say might be the only one. Christians, Muslims, but in the inner city black communities, a lot of black families still ain't rocking with the ministry. The Muslim brothers is, but they look at it like, it's a religious line that stopped him from respecting his teachings. But he been the only person speaking up for us. He been our only voice in America. Him and Tupac in our generation, the only people that spoke about how we was feeling and what we was experiencing. We haven't had, bro, other cultures not experiencing that, bro. Other countries not experiencing that. There is no pocket of humanity that is experiencing that except for ex-slaves in America. That's it. Now, to a degree, yeah. Most of the Latin American countries, yeah, they're experiencing it too, but they got more of a cultural construct available to them than we do, because they cultures that exist in Latin America don't differ that much from the natural organic cultures of ancient Africa and where our people stem from. This new modern westernized culture that's developed in America is anti-everything we are, bro. We like to be under the sun half naked to soak it up. And we know why now. So we grown now. So now they demonized any human being that with a lack of clothing on. You put some clothes on. This was natural for us though. We soak the sun up. But we don't know that it's unhealthy for us not to be sitting under the sun and soaking it up. We don't know that what that sunlight was doing to it. They don't teach us that in school. They don't tell us we get no vitamins from the sun, bro. I never heard the word melanin until I went to prison, bro. This shit is the essence of divinity down there, you hear me? I never heard the word before.
Me neither. We're in Battle Creek. In Battle Creek, I think all of us, just like you said, when you seen him in the yard and he told you how he ended up where he ended up, you recognize that there was some things that you might not have consciously have been thinking about that could have done some potential damage to
Ain't no
people.
good.
But, you know, we all...
Whole generation of little homies.
So, I think
Came
that we
straight to where we
all of us, whether we recognized it yet or not, have done damage in our communities. But just like when you recognized that and you decided that there was something you could do to try and reverse the course of what those original words were saying, there are leaders in our community right now, whether they have recognized their actions and words have done damage or if they haven't yet, but they are the leaders of this community. We kind of have to work with what we got if you're going to... We're going to have to work with the people that we have until other leaders rise up. Which means
I disagree.
So what do you do when you say
You help the other leaders, you help the next generation of leaders. That's it. It's a lot of these brothers and sisters in this city I'll never do business with, bro. I'm extremely principled. And if you helping the demon, if you helping the devil, you a demon to me. Period. If you helping the devil, you a demon to me. And I can't aid and assist you in that. I took an oath to aid and assist my brothers and sisters of the struggle in all righteous endeavors. I know demonic shit. And I know counterproductive to my community shit. I won't participate in none of that with nobody. I don't care how successful or who they are.
So
I don't
tell
care
me
how
a
much
little
it
bit,
financially benefit me.
That's what
None of
I
that.
want to. I want to get that out because I feel like there are people in this community that are leaders. If you ask people from the top looking down, who are the leaders?
That's who picked them. The top picked them. They've been carefully selected. They pick our leaders from the same pool of resources. College graduates, fraternities, and sorority members. Because that's what they are. The ones picking. So if you went to college and you joined a Greek sorority or fraternity, you're going to get there. They like you. You've already bent over backwards. You've already substituted the African culture for a Greek culture. And you must not have no idea of history. If you even represent me. And I know a lot of our brothers and sisters going to get mad when they hear it. But I argue with my niece about it all the time. I ain't biased, bro. I know what they doing. I know what that does to the psyche. I know what these letters that you draw, I know what our subconscious functions off of. I know what happens when I look at Chinese letters versus American letters. I know what happens. Why these letters have been imprinted on me, so I understand them. This makes absolutely no sense. But if somebody else tell me what it means, then I can learn how to write it. They ain't yours. They ain't ours. That ain't our culture. We're not Greeks, bro.
So
that's the first. Greece is actually the birthplace of Europeans. The island of Patmos.
It's
about
funny you say
5,500 years ago.
Because when I went to college, it was so many people that try and put pressure on you to go that path.
It's intellectual gangbanging. That's it, bro. It's intellectual gangbanging. What we did on the streets, stupid ass gang shit, claiming some shit that somebody else made up, not even understanding the science and symbols be behind these signs and symbols, and let it absorb our psyche and sink into our subconscious to the point where we was willing to die and kill for it. It's the same thing. It's just intellectual gangbanging. They so obsessed with it that they'll reach out across the country and help somebody that's one of their members. And they people in their family doing dirtball bad. They won't treat their children with no respect. It's the same thing, bro. It's intellectual gangbanging. These are constructs of this wicked system. They capturing in those sororities and those fraternities, those Greek. Why wouldn't they be African? Why are they Greek? I don't get how so many of us have fallen for this, bro. I don't understand. You can do the same thing and call it anything else. Y'all can have the same fraternity, sorority structure, and it can be based off our culture. It can be based off African American culture. It can be based off anything. Why Greek culture?
You recognize that there are people in this community that are trying to do things, but their approach may not be necessarily...
No, I don't recognize that. Nobody ain't in the community.
So when
the people you talking about don't step foot in the street. They don't come nowhere.
So yeah, tell me about it.
Ain't nobody there. Ain't no anybody. You can list them all. They ain't in the community. Mm-hmm. They ain't crossing them neighborhood signs, bro. You know them signs they got put up? That's the new red line. They not crossing them Washington Heights community signs. They not crossing them Park Hill community signs. They not all up in Orchard Park door to door asking the people what's going on in that neighborhood. They ain't up and down Meacham or post up at Meacham Park in that south side. They not doing that, bro. Don't nobody on the northeast, east side. They don't know these people's names. They don't know who run it. Ask these kids who run this city. I bet you they don't know none of their names.
So I like what you're saying because you're coming into understanding of why I'm here. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like, when they made the Underground Railroad, there were certain people that knew how to navigate the lands and get to the place where people were in captivity. And they knew how to take you on a certain path that led to that person that had the truck.
Right.
And that person who had the truck knew how to take you a little bit further. And when I think about the concept of why I came back, I felt like I knew how to be that person that if you could lead them from that porch and get them to want to get to a certain level, you may not be able to take them over that hump to be prepared for that test or to be prepared for that curriculum or how to read that syllabus, but I could take them from that spot where you brought them to me, and then I could push them a certain distance, but then at a certain point, I knew people that worked in admissions.
I know exactly what you're saying. Right.
So, when I look at all the different leaders, I feel like they all got a small pocket. And they all got a certain pocket of what they can do for each person in the community. Now, do I think that every single person is 100% honest and 100% for the people and 100% like willing to sacrifice themselves and put themselves out there? No, I don't. But
it's an integrationist theory, bro. That's integration. You speaking on integration. You speaking on subculture, the integration of a subculture. It's the same thing that we went through with the MLK versus Martin Luther King versus Malcolm X, right? It's the integration and it's versus sovereignty. It's the only difference. Because wherever we escort and take them to, it's going to be part of this system. So these pockets, everybody has something that they can offer somebody. They can get a lot of people off the porch. They can change lives right now with these systems that's in place. They might not be doing it right now, but they can. McCoy might be doing it. McCoy has a lot of lives in his hand. McCoy actually has a system. McCoy actually has something where we can take the kids and take them there, and they're doing different things with these kids, and they spending some time with them at the very least. Everybody else just functioning off meetings alone, bro.
Could you see yourself, so let's say that this system that he has, because you mentioned it, and he said, you know what, I can't do this part.
Me and McCoy had that talk, but yeah, we cool. We do business together. We do business together. It's just he got a beautiful dream. It's a beautiful dream. It's not just one person. Everybody it needs to, and these people that we saying not doing this or not doing that, they in a better position to do a lot than most. All they gotta do is cross them lines, bro. That's it. They getting paid to do it already. They running off with $78,000 a year to do it already. All they got to do is do what they job and invest themselves, but people not willing to sacrifice no portion of their identity or their self. They want to be accepted by this culture that hate our guts. They going out their way. They taking every fucking class they offer. Police boot camps, such and such training, and you can't get to know your people through no training course, bro. You can't get to know your people based on who show up to a fucking meeting downtown. You talking about kids who won't go to Taco Bell because it's on the south side, man. Come on, man. They out of touch with what Farrakhan said. You out of just a few of y'all in a few smoke-filled rooms, calling that the mainstream, while the masses of people, and he lists all the colors, is fucked up. Y'all out of touch with reality. Yeah, y'all gonna be successful. Enjoy this city. Go enjoy y'all little nicer houses. That's why I got mad at them at the protest. They did that for the police, and they told me they did it. I don't care what they say. They called my phone and told me they did it. Chief Blocker called L.E. and L.E. called every other black leader in the city, and they agreed to it. And the person who was telling me told me, I didn't want to agree to it, Jeff, but I did. They controlling this city. We are being occupied by a military war vet right now. Binky ain't nobody. Chief Blocker run this city, bro. And he is functioning this city like it's an occupied village overseas. They pulling out tanks on people. On Kingman, bro. We averaging 6 murders a year. What y'all got tanks and all this military equipment for? Why y'all jumping out on people with ski masks and choppers and shit? But y'all wait till the sun go down because these squared black brothers and sisters is going to be at home in the suburbs by then. At home in Lakeview or out by the mall or wherever they live at. They don't live here though. They don't see what's going on here. And that's a social construct. They let the few successful black, Latino, and everything else people live in these safe neighborhoods while they terrorize these and guarantee them numbers gonna come out of them because they need them numbers in that graveyard and they need them numbers in that penitentiary. So they combing through these communities fucking over our people. If these same people with these jobs and these degrees and these skills and this money would cross that line, they will be able to offer more protection to our kids and our next generation of leaders. And instead of convincing them, they be selling their kids to this system, bro. They groom their kids to be a part of this system, bro. The best thing in the world to them. When they get accepted by this quote-unquote white upper class. We don't even got one here. We do, but they don't engage with us. They out, you know. But it's some Fortune 500 company. They ain't running around here, though. They ain't, you know, stuck here. They enjoying the world. But our black leaders ain't engaging our black people. They can call themselves leaders if they want to. I don't call myself a leader. I'm one of the people. They can call themselves leaders, but who they leading?
You're a leader.
They hand-picking honor roll students every couple years.
You're a leader. To
take pictures with. That's not leading, man. They doing bad, bro. These little dudes got some weapons out of this world on them. I'm talking about beams on handguns and everything. They got police. Y'all policing us. Why y'all ain't stopping these shipments of weapons from getting here? Where are these choppers coming from? Why everybody got beams and everything? Man, they armed to death, bro. Hey, man, listen. Ain't a platoon in the military can fuck with probably one neighborhood in America. But these little wild motherfuckers, they done experienced more combat conditions than them. These military war vets come back from overseas from one night of one shootout, wounded, fucked up in the head, doped up, going to see psychiatrists, getting medication. Man, these dudes going through that shit every night. Watching their mans get their noodles blown. These little girls seeing it too. They in the car with them. They seeing this shit every night. They can't come home. They can't go home from the war. They at home. The war right there at the crib. They looking out their windows and shit. I just watched the little homie arguing with his child's mother on the computer because he don't want her to know where he live. Because she fuck with a nigga he beefing with. This is a reality that motherfuckers living with. This is crazy. We can't go home from the war, bro. We the occupied village. We the occupied village that they storm in every day, every night. That's us. We just right here in America. This is the same way they go through their shit. Door to door. Raiding them. Doing intel. Sending spies and undercovers at them. Paying motherfuckers from their community to turn on them and tell on them. There ain't no different. We being occupied, my G. And our police chief is a military decorated war vet. I believe it's a way to convince the youth to assume some control in society, right? But we're going to have to muscle some of that control for them. We're going to have to muscle it. Like, ain't nobody letting go of that easy. These people that's in these quote-unquote leadership positions is grooming their grandkids to be there one day. But we so fucked up, black, white, everybody else. Ain't nobody even grew up to be a CEO here. Bro, we surrounded by Fortune 500 companies in Battle Creek and Kalamazoo. It's Fortune 500 companies all up and down, everywhere. We will go walk to them right now. How many local community members, graduates of the local public or private school system? Definitely not the public school system, but let's just, the biggest schools in these two cities. Battle Creek Central, Kalamazoo Central. Lloyd Norris, St. Phil, we can name them all. How many of those students have went off to college, got a degree? We got a lot of degreed people in the city. How many of them have came back and worked their way up the ladder and became the CEO or something? This is an occupied village, bro. We don't own nothing. Everything foreign. The CEOs of Kellogg's is foreign. Everything foreign, bro. We don't own nothing. We being suppressed, bro. We being suppressed.
We already have people in our community that are already equipped to help us get to the next level, but they are not being empowered.
Slide through it.
And that's why I have you on my recording, because you're one of them. I feel like we need to empower you, not using all these rules of grants and how you got to fill out all this stuff and how you got to qualify for that.
But I ain't never submitted a grant.
I'm saying this. If y'all are saying that these lives matter, and we recognize right now that there's a system in place that's getting them out here and feeding them back. I was so glad you brought up the seeds being placed in their mind. You already know that these seeds are being placed in their mind. What are we doing to counter it?
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to feed the soil, feed the people who can.
Yeah. It's like spiritual agriculture, bro. What Tupac say? They planted seeds in their hat, stuck in my brain, inside my brain like a map. Such a dirty game. He know what he was talking about. He was poetic with it. And they gonna hatch. They gonna grow. Hey, they gonna grow, bro. Them seeds gonna grow. I didn't know where mine came from, though. Came from it was generational, though. I was young. I ain't know where my natural obsession with guns came from. But I had seen my grandfather carry guns everywhere. My daddy, my uncle, every man in my family. Weapon crazy. I didn't know my great-grandfather was on the run for 2 murders down south. Moved up here, bought some farmland in Albion. My mama's side of my family, last name Faye. I ain't find this out till about 2-3 years ago, bro. I said, what? Williams. My mother's maiden name, Faye. Kate Williams, Fred Williams, Francine, Frederick. It's all fake. That Williams is a fake last name. I've been finding family members on Ancestry DNA since I spit in that tube and just put it in the mail about that. These niggas ain't got nowhere to go, G. They just out here thinking of what they gonna do next. They brain been stimulated. The king cells in their body ain't even been activated. Ain't been no diet applied to their thought process to wake that shit up. Nothing. We ain't got nobody in our ear. We ain't got no strong black men in front of the bullets and the police and the oppression. We don't got it. So these niggas getting this shit off TV and what the fuck we did in the past. And they got a bunch of generations in the middle of us and them. Now they've been having some fucked up examples. Horrible. At least we had some older homies who didn't want us to be pieces of shit. They gave us dope, guns. We was all in the streets, but they was stopping us from doing dumb shit. They was telling us shit to do and talking to us when we was crying and sad and shit like that. These niggas ain't doing that shit to these, man. They misusing these little dudes, man. That's a compromise. We know what it is. It's a compromise for us to exist in this system. It's a compromise for me to work for this company I work for. It's a compromise for me to pay these bills for some land I'm supposed to own every month. This is all a compromise. Knowing that we not investing in none of these companies that we paying to. That's a compromise, bro. When we can have our own concept and we can own these companies. We can own, or we could be paying for. It's a compromise.
And the thing for me
it's never
is
gonna
like,
be the most comfortable thing to be.
It's not enough for me. I didn't come back here so I could make it. I could do that anywhere.
Right.
I came back here, and the only thing that's gonna make me feel successful is when a path has been created for other people. And I'm not telling them, I'm not trying to make a path to make you go to college. I'm trying to make a path to wake you up to your potential.
Mm-hmm. But see that, yeah, it's beautiful intentions, but that's the beautiful thing about organics, bro. You don't know what it's gonna open up. You don't know what it's gonna lead to. You don't that definition of success. You already successful. The day that you dedicate yourself to something righteous, the day that you make a decision to use your energy to help other people, you successful already. Where that goes and who it helps, and that's not even in your control. Especially knowing if it's a divine line of things taking place, right? It's basically you just on that timeline that you're supposed to be on. It's other timelines. Once you on that timeline, we don't know the events that's gonna happen on that timeline. We just, when you're on the right timeline.
When I seen this, I realized it.
You know when you want, it's gonna come. It's signs and symbols for the conscious mind. I used to laugh I used to tell them old niggas to shut up when they said that shit. You hear me? Oh, I used to go hard. I used to clown them old head dudes. But that's all. Bro, I ain't never heard a term that so much in my life. My family wasn't pumping, reaffirming terms in my mind. My family wasn't, quoting things of self-affirmation. They wasn't doing that. They wasn't here. When nobody in this household with me. My mom didn't come home until about 12, 1 o'clock every night. When nobody here, that's why we was GBO headquarters. It was my house, right? So when I went to prison, that's all you hear them old heads saying. Everybody, these are all strangers. They don't know you, but they listening to you talk and they can cut into you. You hear me? Because they recognize you a leader, you intelligent, you this. We don't have that here. So they telling them they got you. They telling motherfucker how to dream, how to make plans, and study business, and order books, and teach yourself shit. We don't have that in the streets. We got that there. We got to develop that shit right out here, minus the prison sentence. You know what I'm saying? But all them old head niggas used to say is signs and symbols for the conscious mind, young blood.
I'm gonna need that.
Signs and symbols for the conscious mind, young blood. I didn't understand what the fuck they were saying because I didn't understand myself. I didn't understand my psyche. I didn't understand how the subconscious worked. I didn't understand how what I was seeing and what I was hearing worked on me. I didn't understand none of that shit. I didn't understand what this music was doing to my psyche. We didn't understand that shit. We weren't taught to think like that. We are not taught to bring the best out of ourselves. We are not taught to get to know ourselves. We are taught to memorize the system and merge with it. That's it. That's a destruction of self. That's it. Every system, every hospital, every school, every job, everything in America is the destruction of the natural self. That's it. None of this shit is natural, bro. They not teaching us this shit. If they was, we would be more careful about what we consume, what we listen to, what we observe, what we dedicate our energy to. We would be. Our parents would make sure of it. If this was a norm in this society, it should be, but it's not though. But once I started growing up and I started seeing shit, you don't recognize it at first because you just on the first round of that cycle. But once you went around that cycle a few times, you're like, oh shit. Oh shit. Oh, somebody about to kill that boy. Signs and symbols for the conscious mind. Oh shit. It's a nice car. Nice car. That nigga going to jail soon. Signs and symbols for the conscious mind. Rob these niggas. You gonna have to deal with this shit. Signs and symbols for the conscious mind. You get those feelings. You get that feeling that something ain't right. We live with it. We forced to digest it because it's a part of our everyday life. Because we getting them signs and symbols in elementary, in our classrooms, in the principal's office, in the grocery store, aisle, when other people looking at us, we getting them signs and symbols that we hate. That they don't want us to be successful. They don't think the most of us. We feeling that shit. We seeing it. We just don't know that we absorbing it, and that seed being planted, that we gonna grow up and not think that much of ourselves, not feel comfortable in open society, and only feel comfortable in the dark when ain't no grown-ups around and shit.
And that's, it's crazy you saying all that, because like I didn't start getting my consciousness until I left here.
Me too. When I went to prison, I got removed from this motherfucker. That's it. I don't remember thinking before then, bro. I was going to see Farrakhan speak. I went to see him speak when I was 15. I remember this shit. I ain't do nothing with it. I don't remember taking quality time and be like, just calm down. What am I going to do with my life? I never thought one day about it. I never had no future plans, bro. And I graduated from high school. I wasn't on no timeline. I wasn't on one of them. I was floating. It's pure, utter destruction without that destruction.
I was too, though. Because,
destruction.
Like, the only reason why I went to college is Michigan State had an on-site application thing. So they just came to Battle Creek Central and was like, if you want to go to MSU, come down here and meet in this room. So I just want to get out of class.
Right.
Yeah, I go down there.
Right.
So I went down there. I got accepted into MSU. Every day after that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to MSU. I remember Michael Gudger. He called me and was like, aren't you going to MSU? I was like, yeah. He was like, when's your open house? Or your orientation? I was like, huh? He was like, yeah, you got to go to an orientation, man. He was like, yeah, mine is this weekend. You should just come with me. And I was like, all right, I'm going to come with you.
Right.
Tell my parents, all right, I'm going to MSU for orientation. I get up there. They like, we accepted you, but you never paid an application fee.
Right.
And you never applied beyond that, so we assumed you didn't want to come here. So if you want to come here, your parents going to have to bring the application money up now.
Right now.
Or you can't take the test to see what classes you're going to take. You can't register for classes. Everything that's supposed to happen in orientation, you will not be able to do.
Damn.
So they had to come up that exact day and do all that. But what if he would have never called me?
It's a line of things. It's a divine line of things. What if he would never called you? If you would have never kept saying it, you affirmed it in your brain first, so you kept saying it, right? Then he called you, which made you more susceptible to going with him, right? Still not knowing everything you were supposed to do, and you went there. What you just said you just did today, and you went there. Now it's a divine line of things. If they had a rule where if you didn't do all that checking, you couldn't get in there, you wouldn't have made it. If your parents and whoever else they had access to and whatever else they had access to wasn't able to get up there right then, you wouldn't have made it. It's a divine line of things. It's so easy to fall through any one of those cracks.
And that's why I feel so obligated. Like, once I got out,
even the beginning, it should have been a school, somebody in that school, spending the first 10 minutes of class when that people came on campus, letting people know exactly what was going on. This is what's going on. We're preparing y'all for college. We're preparing y'all for the future. They don't do that here. That's why that report came out. The college and career readiness. Y'all ain't preparing nobody for the future here. Y'all only preparing motherfuckers to be workers. That's it. I ain't had no college plans, bro.
How would we, though?
Nobody was there.
How would we? Like,
we didn't have it.
And
it's insane.
And
because
that's
before
why
the age of currency, before this employment system, before all this shit, man, motherfuckers used to travel from across the globe to go to Timbuktu and beg for teach me some shit.
Their knowledge.
Teach me. This was the first university on planet Earth in Timbuktu. First university on planet Earth. It's still standing right now. They taught everything there, bro. Our people were some bad motherfuckers, really. Timbuktu. All these terms that they made us ridicule growing up was some bad motherfuckers. Ethiopia, the birthplace of everything we know
Nas
about
tried
Egypt.
to tell us that.
Yup.
Nas tried to tell
Black
us.
cats, all the shit they made us hate. The number 13. Everywhere you look, you're going to see that number, bro. You got Jesus and 12 disciples, and you got the sun and 12 constellations. Everywhere you look, you're going to see that divine number. 1 surrounded by 12, bro. Everywhere you look, there's something about it. It's a science to it, but they made us hate it because that's what natural. It's natural. It's organic for us to fall in line with that shit. For us to fall in line with the earth. And we was beautiful when they met us. You know what I mean? We gonna get back there. We just learned how to read again a little while ago. We came a long way already. Black leaders don't like to say that, but it's not true because they only measuring it by societal success. It's not true. Individually, as a human species, we just learned how to read again, bro. We was empty for 400 years. We just learned how to read again, and look what we doing already. We just gotta destroy these pockets. This hip hop shit is capturing our poets and our scribes and our writers and our authors. It's capturing our people who know how to orally trade history.
Stimulate that mind.
That oral shit. I got a certificate in oral history. I got a certificate in it. And being able to tell a story. I got trained in Cleveland to be able to do it. My neighborhood works. That's where most of my certificates come from. But it's real training. And it's value in that word. In the beginning, there was the word. We vibrating off each other.
Man, do you realize
that's what we doing,
gave
bro.
me energy when you said
we
that?
vibrating off each other, bro. I woke up one day and seen it. I said, damn. Because I study everything. Religious, secular, ancient, modern. I like paying attention to shit. I thought about it one day. I said, damn, they saying the same thing. I said, religious brothers and sisters say in the beginning there was the word. And God created everything with the word and his thought. Scientific brothers and sisters say it was the Big Bang Theory. And it was a loud noise that vibrated. Native Americans, it stood out. I laughed at it when I first read and learned it years ago in prison. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? But I was in my beginning stages of studying different belief systems and religions and trying to see the line and shit. Like the Indian tribes' belief systems and structures is what people call the Hebrew Israelites. It's some shit going on, right? But I just realized, I just looked at it one day like they saying the same fucking thing. The only reason why it ain't sinking in the place is because our ego, man's ego, when they read in the beginning there was the word, they believe that word was in their language. Because our ego make us think that this universe is catering to only us, which we know now is not true. This planet would be just fine without us here. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker would be better off without us on this motherfucker, actually. Then the sun ain't rotating around this motherfucker. We floating around it. But our ego made us create these things. But they was just going off what they seen. Yeah, it do look like the sun sitting still. I mean, moving around. It do look like that motherfucker going in a circle around. That's what it looked like. So, yeah, he gave us the sun to keep us warm, the food. Oh, we the center of the universe, baby. That's all ego. We didn't even understand the universe. All we understood was what we seen. Even our ancestors, we be drawing up on them ancient Egyptology concepts. They was drawing up on what they could see. That's it. And we seeing the same thing. We just describing it in different ways. But they was just all these different Egyptian gods and goddesses. The stories, when you hear the stories and really study it, you be like, oh shit, they was just telling oral stories about the universe. The goddess Nut was represented the sky. The god Geb, he green. He was a representation of the earth. If you look closely at the hieroglyphs, you'll see wheat and barley and leaves growing out of it. He represented the earth. They were twins, brothers and sisters. And there was another god that represented the sky, a male and female, moisture and dry sky, that created the concept of time. When you think about this mythological story of the universe and the earth being brothers and sisters that was separated by the sky, and the oceans come from the earth crying from being separated from the twin sister, and the rain comes from when the universe cries and gets sad, and the masculine and feminine energy of the air, which is the moisture and the dryness, creates the concept of time. How do anything age, bro? being exposed to that weather. They knew what they was talking about. They was teaching, but they was using stories. Somebody that wasn't on that same timeline encountered those stories and misinterpreted most of them and tried to make it seem like we was just a bunch of nutcases worshiping a bunch of weird gods and shit. We seen the energy and everything. That's it. A dung beetle, the beetles that's all over the walls. A dung beetle roll a ball of shit all day long. Look peculiar to anybody watching, like just rolling a ball of shit every day. That motherfucker following the sun though. Scientists did experimented with these motherfuckers. They set a mirror in front of that motherfucker, redirected the path of the sun, and that motherfucker get on top of that bitch, do a little dance, and turn that ball and roll that bitch. So the ancestors thought it was a beetle. They drew the pictures of a beetle rolling the sun through the universe. That was their concept. That's how they related to it. And that beetle would have its eggs in that dung and it would fly out. That egg would hatch and fly out. So they drew it with wings on it. But you got to really look into it. You got an evil motherfucker that ain't going to try to get in tune with that vibration and how we naturally existed and how we naturally merged with everything around us and became like a part of it. We know we was. We eating it. We eating the shit that's growing out the ground. This shit is, we don't know why it's doing it. We don't know why the land is fertile enough to grow everything we need. We don't got nothing to do with this shit. We ain't make this part of it. We living off of it though. So we a part of it. They made it all some evil. That shit wasn't no weird shit that they done turned, because that's where they get it all from. All those stories. Every story we know in Islam, Christianity, Judaism, they come from those teachings and those beliefs, those hieroglyphs and those pictures and those stories that was told for thousands of years. They went from being stories about nature to creating wars with it, forcing it on people. When it ain't nothing but motherfuckers was talking about what they observed. There's no absoluteness to these things that we write down. It's not absolute, bro. It's not absolute, but they got everything that the people need. They the ones took it. That's who took it.
So
that's who focused on our people.
Because this is why I came back, was to fight for these people. This is who I came back for.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not wasting my time.
That's who need us.
So
That's who need us, bro.
once this dialogue happens, do I know if people are going to buy into it?
It don't matter. That part don't matter. We can't measure that. I always tell the comrades that we can't measure. I call it the Larry Hoover theory. When Larry Hoover was changing Gangster Disciple to Growth and Development, all the GDs told him, "Oh, Chief, man, we gonna lose about 90% of the membership. We all street niggas." Chief said, "I'm cool with that. If I'm left with 10% loyal, righteous brothers, as opposed to 90% ignorant niggas, I'm straight." And he did. And that's what we left with, struggling with these knucklehead niggas. It's only a small percentage of us who really on growth and development and believe in these righteous concepts and things of this nature. Can't convince everybody to better themselves and grow and develop into better human beings and bring the best out themselves. We ain't recruiting no more. We ain't gang banging no more. I deal with every gang on the planet. We ain't, it's a different, but it's a smaller number. But it's an ancient concept, bro. It's what the Hindu caste pyramid system was based off of, that triangle concept, right? They say the original symbolic representation of that 6-point star is the perfect combination of higher and lower self, right? You got the 6-point star going up, 6-point star going down, right? It's the shape of man, our limbs, our head, our phallus, and our legs, 6 points, right? The Hindu caste pyramid was just the upward pyramid. The Hindu caste pyramids. This is what their society was based off of, right? Of course, it's at the bottom of the pyramid, the worse off, on the ground, homeless, poor, bro, whatever. That's the higher up on that pyramid you go, in their mind was the higher, the more you purified yourself, the more you bettered your conditions, became a better individual, spiritually, physically, financially, everything. But the more pure you became, the less people it was, because on the ground level is more people doing bad than good everywhere we go. So this is what their system was based off of. So the overall concept of that system was the people who lined up in the middle of the system and at the top, from the top to the middle, didn't care necessarily where they was on that system. Their main concern was that they just wasn't at the bottom of it. That's it. They just wasn't at the bottom of it. The higher up you go, the less people you got standing on. But just don't be at the bottom, because you're going to be crushed. And that's where we at. We at the bottom being crushed. We don't even know where the ladder at. Then we don't even know how to change our economy. We can't give each other a job. I said, no power. I said, power? I said, bro, I can't get nobody a job right now. I can't get nobody a place to stay right now. I said, that's power, bro. Helping somebody be able to take care of themselves and their family. You can't do that. You don't have no power. I said, bro, we fighting for a lack of power. That's the position we fighting from. We are fighting from a lack of power. We weak right now. We've been utterly destroyed. But don't share that shit. This ain't no rap video, bro. You ain't put no jewelry on me one day and make it look good. Nah. We fucked up. Nobody like to admit that. My family be mad at me and everything. We fucked up. I ain't ashamed of that. This is the position we was born in. This is not. And we don't empower our energies either, because this is a brief moment in history. These 400, 500, 600 years. This is a brief moment in history. Our history is glorious. We beautiful people. We strong people.
We just got to redirect the trajectory to where it was at. You know what I mean? We got off a little bit, and it's
we just so happen to be born at the time when the devil was winning for a while. This might be the last end of it, but it was predicted. It was predicted that they would have a successful run on our at our cost, and it happened. It fucking happened, bro. Now we can debate on whether it was prophetic or it's a cycle, and it happens to happen over and over and over again. I believe it's a cycle. It's the same story of the Pharaoh and Moses in Egypt and free my people. It's the same shit. Moses and MLK, the same people. It's the same things, but we at the end of it though. We waking up from it.
Now we gotta turn it back.
Tell you my overall bottom line experience, bro. This is the disheartening part. We be saying we woke, they sleep. We woke, they sleep. Which is a good imagery. It's healthy imagery to sink into the psyche so people understand the problem, right? It's not literal. It's an analogy. But when we say they sleep, we fail to mention that it's a nightmare. We fail to mention that they having a universal nightmare. All of these sleep people having a universal nightmare. Like they plugged into the matrix being fed these images. And they are, right? So what happens when you try to wake somebody up from a nightmare? They swing on you. They attack you. They mad at you for waking them up. Or they wake up frightened in pure fear, jumping, fighting anything that come close to it. This is my experience on the streets dealing with our people trying to wake them up. That's I get attacked by everybody I wake up. I stood on that porch cussing Damon out, making sure he would never sell another gram of dope again. We can't sell dope no more if we're going to do this on righteous. I'm already starting. We weren't speaking when I had that clean up at Claude Evans. I got the majority of this community engagement and involvement shit from when I was in Atlanta, from the head of the GDs down there, a brother named Spike that just recently got indicted. He was the one. Man, listen, that good brother there, man. That brother opened his whole home up to all them street niggas. I stepped into a world I had never seen. GDs, vice lords, sitting there playing cards and doing tattoos on each other and talking about the concepts and doing community activities and cleanups, all kind of shit, bro. Traveling, going to other cities, helping brothers and sisters in their community organize themselves and develop non-profits and LLCs and all kind of shit. I'm like, damn, this is GD shit for real. So I'm like, I gotta go back home, bro. I know 1,000 niggas that we grew up with gangbanging that we can do this shit. And we all got these skills and these trades to be successful in these arenas. So I came back up here and I got started. I didn't know what to do. First move I made was have a community cleanup at the park. Ain't nobody never cleaned the park up before, but I ain't know that. Lynn Ward Gray and Terrence Todd them told me that. I ain't know none of them. That's when I met all of them. I just got some rakes, some bags, gloves, and Posted on Facebook. You might want to help clean up Claude Evans. Meet me down there, and it was beautiful. Wasn't a lot of people from the hood, hardly none. It's okay. The demonstration itself is going to create an energy that's going to vibrate. That word in the beginning, that bang, that motion, that action, that involvement. You got to bring it to life. You got to bounce off. You got to bounce off. It's going to bounce off something. It's going to bounce off something. These words might be going all the way across the street. We know they are. And they'll echo if they hit the right thing and come back to it. And we'll hear their response from the community. But you got to, or you got to be receptive to it. But we don't even got no satellites. That's what y'all are. That's what our black professionals are. Those are the satellites. To get this message from this side to that side, to bounce it over here to there, to get it, the data collect, to process it. That's what satellites do. But if those satellites ain't in position and the people on the ground don't have the devices to interact and communicate with those satellites, we not gonna hear each other. We not gonna hear each other. But gotta keep in mind that you're waking them up from a nightmare. And you're waking them up to a nightmare. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no comfortable shit. Every day waking up, seeing all the evils of the world and seeing the condition that we in and seeing that we won't do shit. And you can't convince a motherfucker to help themselves. Man, that ain't no cool shit, bro. Oh, man, that shit be draining me, bro. I be zoned. I be sitting up here spending days by myself just to regenerate and recharge and fucking with shit all over this house, staying away from everybody's energy. Just because it's so fucking, it's just depreciating in value day by every day they spend in that street doing that stupid shit. Their energy is depreciating in value like a car coming off the lot. Every day, and they don't know it. They don't know what they could do right now. They don't see it. They don't see it, bro. They don't see. We don't see them success stories. We don't see the brothers and sisters standing up for each other. When they see it, they love it. Even when they don't understand it, they still love it. They respect it, but they drawn to individuals who still sick that dress nice, right? So it's like a condom with an AIDS partner. You feel a little safer with them because they dress nice. They got something covered up. They got a chain on, jewelry, cars, mansion. Let me listen to T.I. Let me listen to 50 Cent. Let me pay attention to these niggas. We don't know what timeline them brothers on. T.I. seems to be concerned with the community now, but it's always a possible chance they still working with the government. We gotta be so apprehensive of each other because we in the intestines of a system that's digesting us all. It's digesting us all. This is these streets, these inner city communities that we don't own. These is the intestines of the swine, the pig that swallowed us. We ain't in the good organs and shit. Look at what they did to the world, bro. They took all the beautiful places on planet Earth and conquered those and charged people to visit them. That shit ain't natural. We gotta pay to go see the most beautiful land. God made this shit. You can't come in this park. You can't come on this island. You can't get in this water. This shit is all unnatural. This system must be dismantled.
But we can't do that part.
We can start. We doing that part. Goddamn it. We is. We might not see the results of it. We not be man, but shit escalating so quickly. I don't know no more. I've been saying that all my life. I beg a difference. Man, these little motherfuckers is escalating shit at a quick. It's a dangerous pace because it's susceptible to being misled by whoever equipped to lead right now. Whoever got the money and the systems and the thing. That's what can lead. We can only hope that it's coming from a righteous place or going to a righteous place. But it's changing. It's been changed already. The psyche, the social construct, and the energy of these kids right now will never be the same. That whole trajectory didn't adjust it like a motherfucker. They got to go back to the drawing board. Whoever wicked in control, They got to go back to the drawing board. Right now is a prime time to establish any kind of change we desire. To ignite any sleeping cells in these people we want. Now is the time to do it. There's never been a time like this in history where the whole planet Earth was woke up and conscious of the same problems. This shit has never happened, bro. It takes decades or hundreds of years for shit to change. This shit happening like this right now. These motherfuckers burned down the police station. They occupied some land in Seattle and a couple other states. Just took police stations.
Media's not talking about it anymore, but it's still happening.
They still own it. It's still going down. This is different. Bro, they drew George Floyd on the West Wall in Israel and separate Israel and Palestine, bro. They got a George Floyd memorial. They was protesting there. They inspired Palestinian groups that started over this shit. Protest revolutionary groups that started. People stood up. North Korea, South Korea, all over Africa. Bro, this shit ain't never happened before in history, my man. Never. This is different. This is different. This is biblical. There's some biblical shit going on. Oh, I knew it when I seen that police station burned down. I said, oh, shit. These little motherfuckers just started a war. This is guerrilla warfare. And then for a couple of days, I'm like, man, there's somebody training these little motherfuckers. That's the essence of guerrilla warfare, bro. That's the essence of guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla warfare is the people, not an organized army, but the people going to war with a more well-equipped and organized culture structure, the army, which is always an army, the government structure. They use, the art of guerrilla warfare is to use your surroundings against your enemy, whatever it is, whether it be the buildings or the trees in the jungle or the people in the community that believe in that government. Attack it all. Tear the whole kind of structure down. Make sure everybody in the community know you not safe. They can't protect you from right here. They over there. And soon as those people lose faith in that safety net that of illusion that they have, that this government gonna fly in their community and save them from their neighbor, nobody gonna make it there, bro. I don't give a fuck what you got your faith in. They can't save you. You gotta be with us. You gotta ride with us, or we gonna run through you. And that's what just happened. Everybody was out there. Everybody felt like they had something at stake. They posted pictures in their windows downtown. Black Lives Matter. They posted pictures. Hey, we with y'all, baby. That's guerrilla warfare, where the people don't feel safe. And this government ain't protecting us. So what's wrong? What's wrong? That's guerrilla warfare, bro. Because they ain't gonna do shit. And it worked. And they listening now. I don't appreciate them running to the enemy every time something happens, man. You can't keep doing that to these kids, man. These kids complaining about the police. They don't trust them. You're not going to get the truth out of them with the police involved. They're not going to tell you how they feel, bro. They're not going to tell you what the problem is. They're not going to tell you what they want to do, what you need to talk them out of doing. They're not going to tell you none of this shit. You're going to turn them into the police. These people keep bringing the police. All these black leaders, they keep bringing the police. That's why I stopped messing with that city commission stuff. Y'all all bring the police everywhere. Y'all invite the police to everything? How y'all invite the police to a Black Lives Matter unveiling and draw a big-ass police badge on the concrete, on the sidewalk? I don't want to be a part of y'all circle. I don't want to sit at the table with y'all. I want to burn that bitch up and use it for firewood to keep the people warm. Period. I don't want to wear no crown. I believe in cutting king's heads, or we can melt them crowns down. Let's eat. I don't believe in none of that shit that they don't. I'm not competing with nobody. I don't care about being a leader or nothing. None of that shit. I know what brotherhood means, bro. I know what a collective village concept is supposed to mean, and I know what it will do. You know how qualified we is. You know how much shit we really know how to do. Brothers and sisters, man, you know how much shit we know how to do, man. You know how much shit these young motherfuckers know how to do with the computers.
Man, you know, the biggest thing that stands out to me is like, I don't really know how we got built the way we are built, but I've never been that person that want to be in the spotlight or want to be in the room, in the boardrooms and all of that stuff. That has never excited me. This is
because that's real. Because it's real. That's why. This is what they don't. This is what they won't do. This is what they won't do. This all you gotta do. Man, them little dudes will listen, man. They listen. You can't help but listen. This is naturally how you work. You can't just not hear some shit somebody say. They listen, man. Listen, man. If these brothers and sisters would know what their energy could do and did it, we could change the city in one summer. We can change the city. I mean, it'll change overnight. Just putting things in motion. It's changing right now. It's just, it's gonna be a portion, a percentage of people that's gonna manipulate, try to capitalize off shit. It's inevitable. It's always gonna be that. The structure of a movement is to make sure that even those who desire to capitalize off of it are going to contribute to the progress of the movement and not the regress of it. That's it. That's the only concern. It's going to be people that want to. It's cool. I'm cool with McCoy owning all that land as long as it's somebody black. As long as it's somebody black. But if your ownership of that land cripples this community instead of helps that community, then I got a problem with it.
But that just is a part of us staying together as a unit. It's not, we can't come together and create these dialogues, create opportunity for change, and then disseminate and all go in our own little corners. When we create that dialogue for change and we've built that structure, it has to be a form of accountability for everybody that's in it to make sure that it's fulfilling what we put together.
You ain't gonna get that out that bunch. They not going to their own corners. They going to them people. That's it. They don't got no corner, bro. They working for them people. They working for this agenda, this government, this city. They not working out. They not, and I can say they haven't been. Maybe they gonna change. Maybe they see shit now.
But let's put it like this.
Maybe they won't just, because I've been viewed as the most militant, radical nigga. Y'all don't have no idea. I'm the calm nigga. Them niggas, there's some radicals out there, though, that talk way different than me. They think I'm radical. Y'all ain't really met y'all own people. Y'all know y'all people. You got some brothers and sisters who want to reverse this shit. I don't want to reverse it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to put nobody in bondage and shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't want white people to suffer and shit. I ain't racist, right? I don't hate nobody. You can't trick me into it. I seen both sides. I seen good and bad white people, good and bad black people. I seen it all in both neighborhoods. So you can't trick me into no hatred shit. But you got some brothers, man, that hate that devil, man. And I know why. And I understand it. And then you got some brothers and sisters who compromise their whole identity just to be a part of that devil. And I know why. Their conscience been conquered. It's been conquered, bro. The assimilation into the powerful culture is natural. That's usually that's like a safety valve in the human psyche. You better absorb this culture that's attacking you, and succumb to this culture that's attacking you, or you're gonna cease to exist. It's actually the process of natural selection. But so we would have to weigh our strengths and our weaknesses. Is it weak of us to exist in this condition, or was it a strong decision for us to go through what we've been going through for the last 400 years just to make sure that we continue to exist? It's a deep discussion. That's worth spending some time on. But like you say, it's cool to have them. Like they have a million meetings. They won't follow through. They won't go talk to the people. They won't present themselves to the people. You must present yourself to the people. I hope so, man.
I do. I believe it.
I hope so.